Doing the fall and at the end and knowing that you're going to be a little bit hurt, what was your first thought? Like how would you think the writers were going to do to you? I guess the good side of that and the bad side. What did you think was going to happen to you?
Reading the script is one thing. I think, on a first glance, I'm like, oh, so that's how it's gonna be, right? Like you're you're like, all right, so someone's got to catch these hands. Like whose idea was it? But but on the other hand, it's like, damn, they made it look so like filming it. It almost feels like watching how a magic trick is done, like getting to work with the wires and do it in slow motion. Like you're falling or whatever, but they make it look so gruesome. Like on the day, like they have the Foley had the back crunching noises and everything. I was like, they really brought it together nicely. But I will say, our writers Josh, Sean, and Hayden really have a great way of tying things together. So although when I first read it, I was a little bit hesitant to be like, oh man, this is going to be rough for this next season. I think the payoff is going to be worth it, and it
Right.
was, and it ended up being fun.
And then Vanessa, the relationship with Johnny is just so much fun, but at the same time, you look at it and you're like, shouldn't you know better? Like this guy is always choosing like the wrong way. Like if you saw like the bright path with bunnies and trees and like the swamp is over here, like he's always going to the swamp. Like it's always his choices. So what is your thought when every time you see that we're like, well, let's give him another chance, another chance.
I know. I don't know what's up with the Diaz's. They just have a soft spot for their sensei neighbor. They should know. They should both know better. Um, no, I mean, I think it's like Carmen and Miguel get to see that sensitive side of Johnny Lawrence. You know what I mean? That side that keeps on trying with a lot of heart, even though he fails. He also fails with a lot of heart. So um, it's endearing, and I think along the journey we're kind of like the audience too, who didn't expect to be, have these nicer feelings for the traditional villain of the Karate Kid. So it's a journey, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like you get to see the good and bad of somebody, but particularly in Carmen's eyes, I mean, he's stepping in as a father figure for her son, who she loves more than anything. So I think that definitely casts him in a good light,
for
and
sure.
she's she follows her heart.
All right, so I know tons of people ate this up as soon as it came out, so I'm going to go into a little bit of spoiler territory here. If you have watched it already, fantastic. If not, go watch it. Come back. So let's talk about Miguel. You're in a coma, and did you have some ideas on what your coma was going to be like? Were you going to be like a twitching coma? I mean, did they try to give you some ideas of what your coma was going to be like, or it was just like sit still, go to sleep, whatever is fine? Like, what would they tell you?
You know what? We never had any discussions in terms of different types of comas. And honestly, until you brought it up right now, I guess I didn't even realize that there were different types of comas. Like when I think of coma, I
Well,
think of
you
just
could
like,
have those dreams. I mean, the dreams of what's happening and all the stuff in your mind, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
those
yeah.
could have.
I think with my, like, I don't know. I think I would just end up making funny faces, and I think it would just come off comedic if I try to do anything like that. But yeah, the coma scenes were pretty easy. I tend to, I don't know, I guess do some sort of meditation. Like that's all I feel like that's kind of all you can do is just be like, all right, close my eyes now. Like everyone else is like crying about Miguel and they're like, oh my gosh, my son. Or like Johnny's like, oh my God, how could this happen? And I just sitting there so pensive, like I just have to pretend like nothing's happening.
And then to speak to your character and the show itself, as we go through the season, there's so many different alliances jumping back and forth, and everyone's definitions of good and bad, which it seems to be like the main theme is like, what do you define as good and bad? I mean, have your alliances changed as actors when you look at the characters? Like what is good, what is bad? Okay, Crease makes some points. I mean, do you guys think about that?
I think the one thing that everyone can agree on is there's only two truly bad people on the show, and that's Crease and Carmen. Those are really the only two.
I knew you were going to say something stupid. I knew it.
but something that's so great about our show is that you are like, even in the third season, even with Crease, who is someone that you're like, he is irredeemable, what is he doing? Somehow our writers find a way to make you feel for him, and it's something that's so impressive just because there's this guy who is starting an army of little children that are going to wreak havoc across the valley. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, but he had a tough time in the war. Like, and then, you kind of catch yourself and you're like, what's going on? But I think it really just is a testament to our great writers.
For sure.
I'm always impressed by Miguel though. Miguel's always seeing what's up. I'm like,
yeah, I always know, I'm playing chess. These guys are playing checkers,
exactly.
Right. Well, I was hoping somewhere you were like not using your legs for a whole couple weeks, like a week or something, just trying to get yourself in the mindset, like just messing with your family constantly by dragging yourself on the ground and stuff.
What I did find is that filming like the scenes where your legs aren't supposed to move is way harder than I thought it was going to be. There were definitely scenes where I was talking and like my feet would twitch a little bit without me knowing, and they were like, "Hey, like that like that's not okay. You can't do that." So I would like have to consciously make an effort to be like, don't move an inch, But yeah, it's fun either way.
All right. Well, we'll look for the dance scene in season 4 because you come out of it. So that's the best part. So, I would thank both of you. I hope both of you are safe and well, and I hope to see you and talk to you again for season 4.
Thank you. Thank you.
Same.